Good.
The Jeff Traylor Radio Show, presented by UT Health San Antonio, the official healthcare partner of UTSA Athletics. By Chicken and Pickle. Good food, good friends, great fun. Also brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. And by Credit Human, the official credit union of the UTSA Roadrunners. Now, with head coach Jeff Traylor, here's the voice of the Roadrunners, Andy Everett.
It's time for the Jeff Traylor Radio Show. We are live from Chicken and Pickle this evening. It's Florida Atlantic Week. It's homecoming week. The Roadrunners will take on Florida Atlantic at 2:30. Our broadcast begins on Saturday at 12:30. Time to visit with UTSA head coach Jeff Traylor, the Jeff Traylor Radio Show presented by UT Health San Antonio. Jeff, welcome to the show. It's a tough time right now with all the injuries and obviously the 2-4 start, but give us an idea of how you're keeping this team together. And I was at practice yesterday, and it seems like the morale of the players is still pretty high.
Yeah, we're definitely, I wouldn't say morale's high. I appreciate you saying that, but I'd say it's a typical response to a devastating loss, which has been a tough season. And we'll have an opportunity to bounce back, but the injuries are definitely taking their toll. But if you find a way to win that last game, you know, you probably can, those injuries don't feel quite as bad.
And then, and like I said, any win, if you come back and get a win this week, all of a sudden the demeanor changes and the attitudes are better, and winning cures a lot of evil sometimes, a lot of ills.
Yeah, I was talking to Coach Aston about that today, and Carol, our volleyball coach. Just, you know, when you play football, it's like losing 3 or 4 basketball games or 3 or 4 volleyball games all at once, because you only get to play so few times. And you know, we didn't play great in the game, but we played hard, and we gave ourselves a chance to win, and we didn't get it done, and those even hurt worse. That's 2 weeks in a row that we've rallied down from 14 and 10 and thought we had both games a great chance to win them and didn't come home with either win.
You talked about on Monday that you know you're in a good place when you don't have success and people care about it. And the fact that there are people, whether they're boosters or alumni or former players or just people that see the score, when you know that people are upset when you don't win, you know you're in a good place.
Yeah, the expectations here have definitely been raised. We've been extremely spoiled, the last 5 years, and we're getting a good dose of reality. I remember vividly saying to everyone, we better enjoy all of this. It's really hard to win college football games, and now we're missing the good old days.
Yeah, we'll touch on that. I got something for that in a little bit I want to get into. I listened to the press conference that you do every Monday, and the way that you described walking out on the field at Rice for Mekhi Hart. I played some of it, and I'll play more of it later in the week. It's really kind of a somber moment in your career and in UTSA's career. I sat there and was certainly emotional about it to an extent. A great guy who's battled for 2 years to stay on the field, has battled through a number of injuries, and then the second play of the game, he knows it's over.
Yeah, he helped build this place. I mean, he's a 2-time all-conference football player, a 2-time conference champion. He's had now 3 years in a row of knee injuries that ended each year. One of our top recruits when we got here, and he's been nothing but a stud. He's one of the best offensive linemen I've ever coached, one of the toughest players I've ever coached. He's got a wife, Maddie, and 2 children, and I remember recruiting him and telling him we were going to get him graduated, and we were going to win a lot of games. And when I went out there to check on him, he's never laid down before without it being a season-ending injury, and I knew when he was down, this is going to be good. And when I went out there, he told me, he said, "Coach, I know it's torn, and I know it's over." And I said, "Mekhi, get those words out of your mouth, man." He's like, "I know, Coach. I just know it's over." And he was right. MRI came back, and he's done. And that's tough on kids, especially that's 3 years in a row. He's a dang good football player. But like I told him, he's devastated. I said, "Look, you got 2 healthy kids, a healthy, beautiful wife, and in 30 years when we're talking about this, we're not going to be talking about the Rice game. We're going to be talking about Maddie and where those 2 kids are." And he's in a little bit better spirits. His surgery's in the morning, so you can keep him in your prayers and thoughts. He's been through a lot.
Absolutely. You know, UTSA has certainly had its share of fourth quarter comebacks over the years, and we rejoice every time that it happens. And now we know what the other side feels like. And that was tough to have the good comeback in the fourth quarter, and then to see Rice pull one out with 4 seconds to go.
Yeah, not getting the intentional grounding call, which would have made it like second and 27. That really hurt. The 2 defensive pass interference penalties obviously really hurt. And the kid made an unbelievable catch against a corner that was in great position. Zay did everything he could do except intercept the ball or knock it down. And it was painful. On top of the season it's already been, you know, that 3.5-hour bus ride was like driving home from Europe.
Yeah, it was. I'm sure it was tough. All right, let's talk about Owen McCown. Fortunately, he's been able to stay healthy, and every week you see a better and improved version of him. Talk about the development and the fact that he is just continuing to battle and continues to play well each and every week.
Yeah, he wasn't real healthy, you know, early in the year. He was overcoming some injuries, and he was new, and he's been pretty healthy here the last month. And his team's not healthy now. So he's a really good quarterback that keeps getting better. You keep seeing it right in front of your own eyes. And the future's really bright for us. You know, he's got another 2.5 years left. And I think it'll be a lot of fun watching this kid progress through his career. When
you have a quarterback whose dad had the successes that he did and played for so long in the NFL, is it easier to teach them schemes and things, or they grow up and are indoctrinated by it? And not every quarterback, not every quarterback in the NFL's son grows up to be a football player, but do those that do understand the game from a player perspective even more?
Well, they just know that it's basically a lifestyle. It's just, it never stops. The kid's always immersed in the ball. He's always talking ball. He never gets too high. He never gets too low. And a lot of that's, genetics, but a lot of that's also culture, just being around your dad and uncles. They were all great at it. And you can just see how many quarterbacks, their fathers were really good quarterbacks. It's, unless you've played the position, it's really hard to tell quarterbacks how to play the position. It's unlike any other position, I think, in the world, because there's just so many different things to go over. You would have to be immersed in it for a lifetime to really understand how to play the position to the level those guys play it at.
And I know last week when we were talking about Rice, you said some of the same things about E.J. Warner, and obviously he's got a quick release and a lot of the same attributes that his dad did.
E.J.'s unbelievable. I mean, if you look at him, he's very normal size. He's just a winner. Kid knows how to play the game, and he's absolutely crushed us 2 years in a row.
All right, we'll come back out here in a little bit. We've got players tonight. We'll talk with Brandon Brown and Houston Thomas, both coming up on the radio show this evening, and have an opportunity to speak with each and every one of them and get you ready for the Florida Atlantic game coming up. Every time the runners score a touchdown and make a 2-point conversion, it's an 8-point possession, and one will win $888 thanks to Wainwright Injury Attorneys, the official injury attorneys of UTSA Athletics. We had several lucky winners last season, so go to the promotions page on the UTSA app and register to win your $888 today. And fans, you can win a brand new 2024 Nissan Frontier pickup truck in the Ancira Punt for a Pickup contest. Go to GoUTSA.com/promotions to register today. Then you could be one of 3 finalists on the field at the Temple game to punt to win a brand new truck, courtesy of the Ancira family of dealerships and the All-American Car Wash. It's the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on the UTSA Sports Network. We're back out here at Chicken and Pickle. It's the Jeff Traylor Radio Show. Fans, Texas Farm Bureau insurance members can get 2 free tickets to Roadrunners basketball and baseball games and football games when you redeem online. Become a Texas Farm Bureau insurance member and visit goutsa.com/TFB tickets to learn more. Every 2 seconds in the United States, someone needs blood, and every time you donate blood, you're saving up to 3 lives. Visit southtexasblood.org to schedule your donation, because when you give, they live. Time to visit with Brandon Brown, UTSA defensive tackle. Welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
Good. How y'all doing?
Very well. Let's take us. I know this season isn't what you want to record-wise, but the defensive line just seems to make play after play almost every game, and you're a big part of that right in the middle. Talk about your group and how well you guys are holding down the fort for the defense.
Our guys, we just come to work every day. You know, we play to the next play. We're not worried about the play before or anything. We just try to keep stacking. You know, we have to be mentally tough and stuff like that. Just getting guys going on the back levels and stuff, and basically just penetrating.
At the beginning of the year, there was some concern about replacing Rashad Wisdom and some of the others, Galechi in that defensive backfield. But those guys have come up big for you this year, and defensively, this unit as a whole has been pretty strong.
Definitely. We just have to delete the small things, and we'll be close to perfect more than anything.
What do you take in account for that? What's been the key thing to get you guys to where you are in that defensive situation and being so consistent?
Just playing more button up than we ever played before, and then guys executing what we need them to execute, and most of all, just everybody being held accountable for doing their 111.
All right, Jeff, let's talk about Brandon from your perspective. What's he meant for you in this defensive team?
Yeah, he's anchored, I mean, statistically in the country. We're top 16, 18 rushing defense, tackles for loss, and that's all because he's the anchor. You know, he's the nose. We're going to miss this kid now. He's been a starter, all-conference player, conference championship teams, and a wonderful human, single-digit guy. He does everything he's supposed to do, and it's not easy. I think we're 16th total rushing, 18th tackles for loss. And it's all because of him drawing double teams, which allows Ligon and Brevin and Martavius to go make a bunch of tackles. And he frees up a lot of stuff for people.
You think he's got some NFL in him?
I do. I tell every single scout. They're going to say he's too short. They're going to say his arms are too short. And when they're done making their roster, he's going to still be on the team. I tell every one of them the exact same thing. I coached somebody, you know, similar to him before. Puna Ford at Texas, he was too short. I don't even know if he got drafted. If he did, it's probably 7th round. I think Puna still in the league. It's been 10 years later now, and they're just made from the same cloth. They're just good people. And when you're smart and you're a good person, you do the right thing, no matter the score, no matter the situation. Those kind of guys make it in this world.
Talk about your future and the dream of playing in the NFL. What would that be like, do you think?
I always had a dream of playing in the field, but at the end of the day, I try to live in the moment and take it day by day. Those aspirations has been there since I was a little kid. Just getting the opportunity to be more amazing than anything.
Where did your love for football begin? Because I know in the times I've talked to you before, whether it's this or a pregame show, you always seem to be excited for the next game, and you can't wait for the next game to start.
I just always had a fire in me since I was a kid. Ever since my dad put a football in my hand and told me to go run and tackle the guy you see with the ball. So since then, I just wanted to tackle the guy with the ball.
Yeah, and it was football part of your family traditions? Did you sit around and watch games on the weekends and things like that, or?
Not at all. Actually, me and my family had just moved to Houston after Hurricane Katrina, and my dad wanted to get me in a better environment by moving to Katy, Texas, and ever since then he wanted to get me in sports, so I just been playing sports since 3rd grade.
What other sports did you play?
I started out playing basketball, actually, and that was like the first sport I ever played, and then one of the kids that's one of my close friends now growing up, he actually got me into football when I was in 3rd grade. He told his dad that I would be good for their little league team, and then he came and he put me on the team, and I was like the best player they had seen.
So were you kind of immediately hooked from football and switching off of basketball?
Definitely. It was just like the excitement of hitting somebody, and you can't really get in trouble.
That's pretty awesome, isn't it?
We saw a picture of him the other day. I don't know who put it up on the screen.
Jax.
He did. He was, I think he was 14, and he was like some kind of All-American. You know, he has a little All-American jersey on. But if you could visualize him being about 75 pounds lighter, exact same face, exact same smile, just a lot smaller version of B. Brown back in the day.
Yeah. So talk about your days at Katy. That's usually a pretty successful program.
Ooh, not at Katy. I was at Katy Morton Ranch.
Okay.
There's 7 Katys now, or
Yeah,
8 Katys
there's a
now.
bunch
How many
of
are
them
there now?
Yeah, we were one of the lower level teams in that district, but as far as a person, I don't really like to get into personal things. We were 6 and we were 5 and 5, but every accolade you could think of, I had district unanimous, everything, state unanimous, everything, first team All Texas, defensive Texas Player of the Year, stuff like that.
So you eventually chose UTSA. Talk about the transition to get here.
It was it was a smooth transition for me to get here. Once I got in the transfer portal, I maybe spent 10 hours in there before I got a call from one of my close guys, Coach Wright. Got on the phone with him, and he had recruited me in 2018. So when I got on the phone with him, he was just like, it's time to make the move here. So I was pretty comfortable with making that move here.
What did you like about the situation here at UTSA and the culture here?
The new situation that they were getting into and what I could put myself in, but how pitch myself helping them.
All right.
And he has. I mean, he's been a huge – the guys that flipped this program need to always be remembered because they're also who's caused all these incredible expectations on the head coach, but they're also the guys that flipped this place. And that's why I'm so hurt that we haven't had the season these guys deserve right now. We've been good enough on defense to win plenty of games. Our offense has been growing up, and we've allowed some really big plays on defense that these guys are just crushed about. But up in the box, they've been solid as heck. No finger pointing, nobody blaming each other. We just keep grinding. And it hurts because I know when you have a lot of penalties and you're losing games, everybody wants to point to the culture and they're not getting along and they're blah, 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 blah. And it's just not true. I'm in the locker room with them. I really know them all. And I hate it for these guys. They're having to go through it.
What do you think of Florida Atlantic this weekend?
They got some heat behind them guys. They're ready to play, but we are too.
All right. Thanks as always for being out here. Best of luck to you the rest of the way, and hope to see you on Sundays here pretty soon too.
Thanks.
He's a good one. We're going to miss him.
All right. That's Brandon Brown, UTSA defensive tackle. He's one of the stars on this team, and USAA honors the stars who serve in our military as the official military appreciation sponsor of UTSA. And we will have another one coming up here in a minute with Houston Thomas. We're getting to know them better during our USAA Stars segment each week. And also, UT Health San Antonio is the official healthcare partner of UTSA Athletics. See how UT Health San Antonio's brightest minds are making lives better at WeMakeLivesBetter.org. The Jeff Traylor Radio Show continues on the UTSA Sports Network. game so you can fill up your cart without emptying your wallet. When it comes to UTSA football, no store does more than your HEB, a proud supporter of UTSA athletics. And enjoy Bud Light while cheering on the runners this year. Bud Light is the official beer of UTSA athletics. Birds up, buds up all season long. We're out here at Chicken and Pickle. That is where we host the UTSA radio show with Jeff Traylor each and every week. And we get to talk to one of our other stars from the USAA Stars segment, and that is tight end Houston Thomas. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Very well. Let's talk about the season so far. I know the offense hasn't clicked the way you want to, but it seems your tight end room is pretty solid. Whoever's out there is making some plays.
Yes, sir. I mean, we just have a deep tight end room. It starts with Oscar just being the leader of that room, and just he really gets us right every week, as well as Coach Ritterman. He gives us a great game plan, and we usually know what the defense is going to do out there. Yeah, really just the tight end room is just more consistency and just playing a full game, making more plays. So.
Talk about the presence that Oscar has. He's been here 6 years now, and the lessons that he's taught not only you but the rest of the tight end room.
Yeah, I mean, Oscar, he really took me in my freshman year. I came from high school where I played receiver majority of the time, so I really didn't know how to run block too well. So he would always just, after practice, just show me different techniques, how to run block, how to cut off a defensive end. And he's just been a big part of my development here at UTSA, so he's an awesome leader, an awesome guy.
Talk about the play that got the go-ahead touchdown against Rice the other night. You got back behind the defense and was able to make a big play.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great call by Coach Burke. We ended up getting them in a cover 2 look, so the middle of the field ended up being wide open, and I took it, and Owen McCown made a great throw, and the rest was history after that.
Are you ready to take the reins from Oscar when he leaves next year and be that tight end leader in the room?
Yes, sir. I mean, just whatever the team needs, I'll be ready to do that. And he's just done a great job, like I said, just kind of preparing me for that when my opportunity does come.
All right, Jeff, let's talk about Houston. He was a receiver in high school, and he brought him here and made him a pretty good tight end.
Yeah, he's a good one. He's got a lot more dog to him than he acts like he does sitting here right now. He's a dude's a competitor. He wants the ball. He wants to play. He's just a gentleman. And we're really thrilled to have gotten him, and he's going to be really good. He already is really good, and that was as big a play as we've had, and we needed it at a crucial time. And I had the opportunity to, to turn the season around quickly. We didn't close it out correctly, but he read it correctly. Middle of the field split, like you said, and he read it. And Owen made a good throw, and Houston finished it off.
Let's talk about him converting from wide receiver to tight end. What was that transition like?
Nothing for him. The blocking has been a learning curve for him, which it always is for those guys. But we're going to always bet on length, IQ, character, and Houston had all those things. And he's a guy that enjoys work, so he's coming here. He knows he's got some weight we can still put on him. We got some strength we can still put on him. He's a good enough runner and catcher with the ball. If we can put some mass on him and keep his speed where it is, the kid could really be special. He's still got a long ways to go because he was a wide receiver that's developing into a really great tight end.
Talk about coming to UTSA. What was it that made you choose the Roadrunners?
Yeah, I mean, you could just tell, like, on the visit where I have my grandparents, the culture was just different here. Other schools, the coaches don't care about you as much as they do here, and you could just tell that from day one. Also, the team, you could tell the team actually liked to be around each other, which was a big part of my decision to come here.
You have over 100 players on a team, and not everybody's going to agree on everything all the time, but you go from stranger to teammate to best friend pretty quickly, don't you?
Oh, yes, sir. I mean, just being in the locker room with the guys, like, you're gonna pick up new friends every day. Being in the weight room, just being around people, you're going to learn more about them, and then you just become friends from there.
This team is, you talked about the run blocking, and UTSA has always been, we want to run the football. Talk about those challenges and kind of what Oscar's been able to teach you, and maybe some of the things you've learned on your own to get better in that department.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest challenges for me were just like our inside zones, just being able to pry someone out like Oscar does. He's really good at that. He sinks, gets his hips, and he's very violent at the point of attack. So he's just done a good job with me after practice, just getting extra drills in, getting my hands right when I'm blocking a defensive end. So he's done a great job with that, as well as Coach Ritterman.
Yeah, another good story about Houston. One of my very best high school friends was named Jimmy Green, and his mother and Houston's grandmother were like best friends, and Miss Donna Wells is her name, and I knew I had an inside because Miss Donna was always giving me the report of what Houston's grandmother was saying, and you always write down like who is huge in the decision making of a young man, and we knew his grandmother was huge in the decision. So Miss Donna Wells is always giving me the inside scoop, like, you're going to get Houston. You're going to get him. I'm telling you, you're going to get Houston. So I had some backdoor recruiting going on from all the way from Gilmer, Texas.
Moms and dads and grandmothers and granddads come to watch high school games. That's certainly an appointment every week, isn't it? I'm sure it was in your family.
Oh, yes, sir. I mean, at every high school game, my whole family was out there. My sister, nephew, niece, they were all out there to go support us. So that's always been a big part of my life.
His grandmother's awesome now. She's an absolute dream. Everybody wants a grandma like Houston's grandmother.
That's awesome. All right, you got Florida Atlantic this week. What do you think of the this version of the Owls?
They're a really good team, solid on defense. They're very athletic. I think it's going to be a challenge for us, but we're ready to go.
And you get a, I'm just talking to some of the players yesterday and being around everything. It seems like at any moment the dam could break and all these things could start to work out perfectly for you and get some wins, and that'll certainly make you feel a lot better.
Yes, sir. I mean, winning, it solves a lot of things, and I think we're right there. We have a good enough team to do it, and we just got to go play a full game, team game. I think we can do it.
All right. How about his NFL prospects down the road? Just to get a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger?
Oh, yeah. He's going to be in the mix. He'll be there, and we've got a great tradition with our tight ends. You know, Leroy played for us all those years. He's still in the league right now. Oscar's going to be in a camp as well and on a team, and Houston will follow right in their lineage.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us. Continued success. We'll look forward to seeing you make some more big plays down the road.
So, thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
That's Houston Thomas with us out here at the Chicken and Pickle, and one of our players, one of our USAA stars of the week. Chicken and Pickle, where you get good food, good friends, great fun. Chicken and Pickle, delicious food, cold drinks, yard games, and pickleball for all. UTSA Boulevard in Vance Jackson. And don't forget, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance members get 2 free tickets to Roadrunners football, basketball, and baseball games when you redeem online. Become a Texas Farm Bureau Insurance member and visit goutsa.com/TFB tickets to learn more. We'll talk about Florida Atlantic coming up next on the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on the UTSA Sports Network. than 6 points for every touchdown UTSA scores at home. The Texas Animal Defense League will receive $1,000 thanks to North Park Subaru. Last season, North Park Subaru donated $27,000 to the Texas Animal Defense League thanks to 27 UTSA touchdowns. It's North Park Subaru's TDs for charity. All right, Jeff, let's talk about Florida Atlantic. And they're another 2-4 team that's struggling a little bit, but they've got some talent, don't they?
Oh yeah, their offense, it's the best offense we've played in our league so far. The quarterback is really good. He's just a very good athlete. He runs around. He's left-handed, which is always interesting because we've had one for so long. You don't see many of them, but he's a really good athlete. Number one, both tailbacks are really good. Five's the best back we've played against. 10's a really good wide receiver. They're a typical Tom Herman offense. They run the ball well. Their play-action pass is good. They're very balanced. They played a really tough schedule. They lost to Michigan State early. They lost to Army, who's undefeated. And they were ahead of North Texas by 2 scores in the fourth and gave that up late. So I know they're feeling exactly like we are. I'm sure they're very frustrated. Their team's better than their record. And both teams are basically playing, to salvage what's left of this season right now.
I don't know if this is any consolation, but I did hear Tom Herman say that Cam Fancher has turf toe and is questionable for Saturday. But
Yeah.
I'm sure they got some backups in there, too. Maybe not as good as he is, but we'll see.
And, Frank had that all last year, and it definitely hinders you, there's no doubt. But you can also play through it. It's just a matter of, I don't know how severe it is, what that means. We held Frank out for 3 weeks to let his heal a little more, but still it nagged on him all year long. So I don't know what that means, though.
You talk about a Tom Herman offense. What is his MO?
It's looked the same for. I've studied Tom forever. When he's at Ohio State, he coached Owen's father. So Tom coached Josh McCown at Sam Houston all those years ago. Tom's first quarterback was Josh McCown. And now I'm coaching Owen McCown, so that shows you how old Tom and I are. He always has a heavy run game. He went to Ohio State. He's the offense coordinator there. Then went to Houston. Then he went to Texas, and now FAU. And it's looked the same for years. I mean, he's adjusted it. He's improved it and adapted. But he's big on flood concepts and cell concepts. Runs his quarterback always, quarterback stretch, zone read, play action pass. Always got a gadget. Always got a nice little trick. He's a good coach, and he's won everywhere he's ever been forever.
How do they stack up defensively?
It's interesting if you study the matchups. Statistically, they're not as good at stopping the run, and we're not as good at running it as we usually are. They're really good at stopping the pass, and we're pretty good at throwing the ball. Offensively, they're really good at running the ball, and we're really good at stopping the run. We're not very good at stopping the pass. So this is going to be an interesting matchup.
It's going to be a 7-6 game, huh?
On paper. There you go, Andy.
Yeah, not much scoring in this game, it sounds like. All right, the drives of the game that we do each week, that we talk about as part of our segment each week. I thought that the 2 drives in the fourth quarter, the McEwen catch for 40 yards, the touchdown, and then Oscar and Houston's drives, what all of a sudden clicked for the offense to get things going the way they did in the fourth quarter?
We had been close on all those drives. Pre-snap penalties hurt us. We called a touchdown out of bounds, barely. We dropped another touchdown, barely. Then we mis-ID'd the front on an opening drive of the second half. We lost 8 yards on outside zone, which killed the drive, basically. So we weren't as far away. We missed a field goal early in the game. We had moved the ball again. But we hit on some big plays. Devin, it was a perfect throw and perfect route. He ran a change-up fly. And then we ran the same play again, and they went 2 deep zone, and Houston did a really good job of reading the middle of the field, and Owen threw him open. And so really thought we were going to win that one. And, that one's going to hurt for a long time.
Those drives of the game are brought to you by Goodwill. You can make a difference on October 26th and donate at Bandera, De Zavala, and Calabria Goodwill stores to receive a buy one, get one voucher for a free ticket to UTSA football game. Go to goodwillsa.org for details and go Runners. All right, we talked to Houston Thomas, and it seems like whether it was Leroy Watson or it's been Oscar, and it's now Houston and Patrick Overmeyer and Dan Dishman, the tight end seems to be a play that works a lot. The tight end is usually open, but those guys are working pretty hard to get open. And it's been something that's always been a part of your offense. Where do you think the overall success of the tight end game has been for UTSA over the years?
All good players. I mean, obviously, we recruited hard to that position, but we inherited Leroy, who was kind of a glorified tackle, and he really adjusted to catching the ball, and he's still playing today. And then Oscar, and then we just recruited to stay that. We want to be a 12 personnel team about half the time. And I stand by it. I know it sounds like excuses that if our offensive line would have stayed healthy, we'd have been typical UTSA. But we're similar to how we were in 22 because we just got so injured up front. But our receiving core is also injured, so that's not a good combination. In 22, we had, JT, we had Zakari, we had Cephas, that we could just throw the ball 50 times a game. And now each receiver has gotten injured, and we just haven't got that chemistry down out there yet. But our tight ends have been steady, and our running backs have been steady. And those guys have progressed the most because they've been healthy and they've been out there, and our quarterback's getting better.
This summer, when we were up in Arlington for the media events, the media days to preview the season, Trent Dilfer joined me on a segment, and he echoed something then that you talked about this week. Football is a hard game played by tough people. Winning is hard, and I remember what Trent Dilfer told me. He said, I asked him what does he like the best about his job, and he said, because it's hard, and when you're successful, it's more rejoiceful because of how hard it is. I'm sure you would agree with a lot of that.
The opposite is true as well, though.
Yeah.
Because it's just as painful when you don't. And especially when you're in Trent and I's shoes because you're responsible for all of it. And nobody wants to hear about injuries or NIL or transfer portal or needing things. Nobody wants to hear it. Which is why I made sure and let everybody know what our needs were when we were on that unbelievable win streak, because I knew one day if it ever turned, nobody wants to hear about the reasons.
All right, we got Florida Atlantic coming up this week. We'll talk more about that. We'll get a couple of other things in the last segment and get you ready for Saturday, homecoming in the Alamo Dome. To save time after the game by ordering Taco Cabana online at tacocabana.com or on the MyTC loyalty app. Sign up for great rewards and exclusive offers only at Taco Cabana. The Jeff Traylor Radio Show continues on the UTSA Sports Network.
The doctor said
And Pickle, final segment of the Jeff Traylor radio show. Fans, thanks to BMW, one lucky fan will win the ultimate home game weekend at the Alamo Dome at our home finale versus Temple on November 22nd. One lucky fan will get a luxurious stay at the historic Maverick Hotel downtown, 2 premium game tickets, a BMW prize pack, and dinner as they cruise the city in a gorgeous new electric BMW X7 SUV. Be sure to check out GoUTSA.com/promotions to register today. It's the BMW Ultimate Home Game Weekend. All right, I forgot to mention this last week. I did it on the segment that we do on Tuesdays on my afternoon show, but you're going into the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame next spring. Congratulations on that.
Thanks.
I know that's not a lot of consolation in the midst of this season, but come next spring, I'm sure you're going to enjoy that opportunity to be around some of your fellow Hall of Famers.
When they called me and told me, I asked them if they could tell by the start of my season, was this some kind of charity, sympathy invite to try to cheer me up? I don't want this if y'all are just trying to make me feel better about myself right now. But no, that's when you're a kid from Gilmer, Texas, and you're growing up, you go to Waco and watch the Baylor Bears play, and you got the Hall of Fame there, and you always go in as a kid, and you go look at all your heroes, and there's never a part of that I ever envisioned me being in that thing. But it does make you reflect about all the great players you've coached. And, when those guys read that stuff, I've had the same cell number all these years. And, they all hit you up. And none of them ever talk about any of the games. They never talk about any of the championships. They always talk about the relationship. They always talk about what a goofball I was. And all these things I try to teach them, they were character traits. We didn't call them culture pillars back in the day. They were character traits, and we would do character education. And, in public schools, the superintendent and the principals and the teachers fall in love with you when you teach character traits every day. So, we call them culture pillars here. At Gilmer, it was character traits. But that's Curtis Brown, a young man that played for me, played for the Steelers for 6 years, played at the University of Texas. There's so many of those guys that have reached out to me and just shared memories, and it's never about the championships. And it always blows my mind that you would think as a coach, when you've won as many championships as those guys have won together, even my guys on our current teams, they don't, when Leroy reaches out or Tariq or whoever it is that reaches out to me, they don't ever mention the games. They always mention the relationships. And it is, as we all get older, it's no different than our own lives. It's the way people make you feel about yourself and how you make them feel. It's the relationships always.
It's the same way when a player retires. They don't talk about missing two-a-days or practices or even the games they win. It's about being around the team.
They miss the locker room.
Yeah.
They always miss the locker room. It reminds me of the poem, and I don't know which Roosevelt, might have been Teddy, about the scars on the battlefield and the blood and the guys that second guess the guys that are on the battlefield. Well, the guys in the locker room, they form a bond because there's just so much that goes on: sweat, blood, tears, literal. And that's why I know I say that I'm like a broken record. The game of football, to me, is the greatest sport of all because it's the closest thing to life. Life is really hard. It's just hard. And football is really hard. I mean, practice, let's be honest, it stinks every day. It's hard. Today's the first cool day we've had the whole season.
Yeah.
And it's still hard. Where basketball, I was a basketball coach for a decade. I loved basketball practice every day. My kids love practice every day. They love the games. Basketball is fun. Well, there's not many people here, if I polled them, that said life has been fun darn near every day. Now, I know basketball can be hard. I'm not dare saying it's not hard. But comparatively speaking, as to football, it's a much more fun sport.
Absolutely. You are 25-3 in the Alamo Dome, and that is, you got homecoming this weekend. Hopefully that helps you out. And as I asked you on yesterday's radio segment, you need everybody in the world there to help out and give you that 12th man advantage that the Dome usually gives you.
Can you say that again, Andy? We what?
25-3 in the Dome.
I haven't heard anything positive
90%.
in so long. That is just such a wonderful thing to hear. I needed to hear that.
There you go.
Yeah, we've been really good at home, and we're ready to come home. You couldn't have drawn up a worse schedule to your first 6 games to have 4 of them on the road with a very young team. You'd like for the schedule to have been flipped and got some confidence and then gone on the road at the end of the year, but that's not the way it was drawn. And we got to battle out of this thing. And coming home for homecoming against FAU is something, we need to get done. And our home crowd is as much to do with why we're 25-3 as we are. Our home crowd just, for some reason, they calm our nerves and they really agitate the other team's nerves. And we need both those things to happen Saturday.
Tate Sandell has come on strong, and I go back to 2 years ago at UAB. And there was probably not a person more excited in the whole building when he made that onside kick that was the surprise onside kick. And now to see him develop to where he is and be kicking field goals and kicking off for you and all that, what a remarkable story.
He was 1 inch away from pulling off another one Saturday. We touched it too soon, and it wasn't even the guy wasn't even supposed to touch it. It was supposed to be McEwen get the ball.
Yeah.
But we had an eager beaver that couldn't wait. So, yeah, Tate those are 2 huge kicks. And we had just taken a sack on one of them, so it was a 50-plus yarder, and he nailed it. And I'm happy for that kid. He has battled and battled and battled, and he really came on. I'm really proud of our freshman punter. 2 consecutive games now where he's been the guy we thought he was going to be. And those are some very positive things. We just didn't get the W. And 2 inches, literally 2 inches, 4 seconds, and we're all feeling so much different.
Yeah, it's a different week.
It's a sick sport.
Talking about Cale Hogan, he's the holder, and he's done so for both Chase and Tate. Is it a challenge for him to go from one side to the other as a left-footed kicker and a right-footed kicker?
He's so young. When you watch him, he forgets sometimes. Like the kickers have to tell him, like, other side, which is so funny to me to watch that. It's just, those guys they're young, and nobody wants to go through the learning stages. And that's, I know it's I sound like a broken horse. That's why the NIL is going to be so big, or we're going to be watching all these players develop, and somebody else is going to come buy them from us, and we're going to have to do all this again. So it's the way of the new world, and we've got to embrace it so we can watch Cale continue to punt, and we can watch Tate continue to kick, and we can watch Owen continue to throw, and Devin to catch it. We want to these growing pains we're going through. We don't want to be developing them for someone else. And I'm happy for all of our guys that leave us and go off to other places, but I'd rather play for the Roadrunners.
Yeah, they can go off and play in the NFL.
Amen. Amen.
Let's talk about keys to the game. How do you stack up against Florida Atlantic?
Yeah, I know Tom knows we're good at stopping the run, but Tom believes in the run. So I know he'll try to get it established because that gets his play-action passing game going. It gets his quarterback run game going. That'll be an interesting battle, how we match up there. Their defense, statistically they're not as good against the run, but they are good. They played Michigan State and they played Army, which skewed those stats, So that's going to be interesting to see how our line, who's a shell of itself right now, how do we match up front? And then special teams-wise, they've got a great punt returner. That guy is really good. Can we get him on the ground? I still say the kickoff return we gave up on the last drive was as big a play as there was in the game. I know we got him down to 36, but that's just unexcusable. The ball's got to be inside the 25-yard line.
Yep.
And he kicked a great kick. But we had 2 guys, again, eager beavers, stuck their head inside instead of staying in their lane. And I'm the head coach. That is my responsibility. But we got to get that stuff cleaned up if we're going to get back in the win column.
All right, good luck. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. God bless. Birds up.
All right, that's Jeff Traylor. That's the Jeff Traylor Radio Show. On behalf of UTSA Athletics and our military appreciation partner, USAA, we'd like to thank all the service members, veterans, and their families listening for your service and sacrifice. USAA serving the military community and their families since 1922. On the air at 12:30 on Saturday, kickoff at 2:30, homecoming in the Dome. Thanks to Shane Carter. Have a great night. It's the Jeff Traylor Radio Show on the UTSA Sports Network.